Directions. Today you will be taking the English Language Arts Literacy Practice Test. You will be asked to read one or more passages. Read each passage and all questions carefully. Some questions will ask you to choose one correct answer, while others will ask you to choose more than one correct answer. You may look back at the passage or passages when needed. To answer a question that asks you to pick one answer, select one answer from the answer choices. To answer a question that asks you to pick more than one answer, select your answers from the answer choices. If you do not know the answer to a question, you may skip it and go on. If you finish early, you may review your answers and any questions you may have skipped. Unit 1. Read the play titled Destination Oregon Territory and the passage titled The Portrait. Then answer the questions. Destination Oregon Territory. Setting. It is 1865 and the Webster family is moving west to go to the rich farmland of the Oregon Territory. Even though the journey there will be dangerous, they are steadfast in their desire to claim some of the land as their own. Act 1. The Webster home. Boxes and crates are everywhere. The family is packing to move to Oregon Territory. Josiah. We must finish our packing tonight since we will leave at sunrise. Miriam. Don't worry, dear. We will be ready. We only have to make a few more decisions on what to bring. Josiah. Well, I definitely need to bring my Shakespeare's plays. I can't leave behind the works of the greatest playwright. Miriam. Of course, dear. We must take this rocking chair too. I spent many nights rocking Jenny and Henry to sleep in this chair. I just couldn't part with it. Josiah. Yes, we must take the chair too. Jenny. Mother, Father, we must take my spinning wheel. I will need to make yarn for things to keep us warm. Miriam. I agree, Jenny. Henry. I have to take my seashell collection. I've picked up a shell every time we visited the ocean. They'll remind me of home and all the fun we've had. Josiah. Yes, the seashells must go too. Miriam, looking at the packed up room. Well, just as I said, everything is packed. We are ready to leave for our next family adventure. Act 2. The Websters pause with their wagon train and their guide Zeke in the Colorado Territory. They have stopped in a desolate spot to talk with the guides. Zeke, looking at the deserted landscape. Cold weather is coming early this year. I can feel it in the air. We need to move faster, folks. We've got to get across the Rocky Mountains before the snow starts. Josiah, looking worried. How can we go any faster? The horses are working as hard as they can. Zeke. We have to make it easier for them. I know this is hard to hear, but you need to leave some items behind. Miriam gasps, and the children begin to quietly cry. Josiah, hugging Miriam. I know this is difficult, but we must make it across before the snow starts. Miriam, you're right. The family looks in the wagon. Josiah, I will leave behind my collection of Shakespeare's plays. I will probably be too busy to read anyway. Miriam, taking out the rocking chair. The children are too big for me to hold and rock now. Jenny, I love my spinning wheel, but I'm not sure where I'll find wool in Oregon to make yarn. We can leave it behind too. Henry pulls out a conch shell from his seashell box. Do you all remember when I got this? Jenny. Yes, it was last summer. May I see it, Henry? Miriam. That was a perfect day. We splashed in the waves and had a picnic on the sand. Josiah, it was a perfect day. Henry, sighing, I will leave behind my shells, but can we keep this one? It reminds me of all the wonderful times we had together. Josiah, yes, Henry, we will keep the conch shell. It will help us remember this journey and will be a small reminder of where we came from. As for our other belongings, well, Oregon will bring us new treasures to own. But the best treasures will be the memories we make together as a family in our new home. The Websters leave behind what they thought they couldn't live without and continue on their journey to their new home. The portrait. In 1871, the Swigert family has moved west to a homestead in the Colorado Territory. Mother placed some freshly baked rolls on the table and wiped her hands on a nearby dishcloth. She called out, "Boys, it's time for dinner." Father, Toby, Tom, Tad, and Tyler quickly came to the table and sat down. Everyone was famished from a hard day of work, and no one wanted to be tardy for dinner. As the family breathed in the scent of dinner, they all began to eat. Tom, Tad, and Tyler, the youngest of the Swigert family, were cramming rolls in their mouths. Father and Toby, who were sweaty and tired from herding cattle all afternoon, guzzled their water. "Dear, I have the most exciting news," said Mother, getting up to refill a pitcher of water on the table. "I just heard that the photographer will be here on Wednesday to take our family portrait." Father looked up with a bewildered expression on his face as he chewed his food. He swallowed, wiped his mouth with a napkin, and asked, "What do you mean?" Obviously frustrated, Mother slammed down the pitcher, put her hands on her hips, and said, "Don't you remember when we talked last week about the traveling photographer who would be coming through? And I told you how desperately I want a nice portrait of the family. He will be here on Wednesday, and it's our only chance to have a photograph taken." "I'm sorry, dear, but we can't get a portrait taken on Wednesday," responded Father matter-of-factly. "Why on earth not?" snapped Mother. Father explained patiently, "I didn't know the photographer was coming on Wednesday, and that's the only day all of the men can help raise the frame for Toby's house. That's surely more important than a photograph." Toby was the eldest and planned to marry the next spring. Toby and his wife would live in a new house next door to his parents. It took everyone's help to raise a house, and all the men in the settlement gathered the wood and other materials together. Then they built and raised the frame of the house. Mother tried to suppress a look of utter disappointment. "I understand," she said with a sigh. Then her face brightened a bit. "Why, maybe next year we can get one taken. Hopefully the photographer will start traveling through our settlement once a year now that we have more citizens settling." "I'm sorry, dear," said Father, walking over to give his wife a small hug. "I remember now how much you were looking forward to it, but at least Toby's new house will be finished soon." On Wednesday, Mother, Father, Toby, Tom, Tad, and Tyler all proudly walked to the site of Toby's future home. Soon the men would arrive and work would begin on the house. The family was excited for Toby. When the men arrived with the materials, everyone began to help. Father gave Tom and Tad special jobs to help build the exterior walls. "I want to help. I want to help," pleaded Tyler, bouncing from one foot to the other. Smiling down at Tyler, Father ruffled his hair and said, I'm sorry, Tyler, but this work is too dangerous for you. Don't worry, son. There'll be plenty of houses that you can help raise when you are older. Father walked away, and Tyler frowned. He was anxious to help, but Father wouldn't let him. So he walked over and plopped down on some soft grass. He pulled some rolled up paper and the nub of a pencil out of his pocket. For the last few weeks, he had been making illustrations, but he never bothered to show Mother and Father because he didn't think they would be interested. Drawing couldn't help with the crops, build a house, or take care of the cattle. Mother and Father were more concerned with those kinds of things. Tyler surveyed the scene in front of him and started to sketch lines in the shape of a house. He studied his family and friends as they labored, and the frame of the house the men were raising, and filled in the details bit by bit. Then he added his father, his mother, his brothers, and himself. He looked at his picture and smiled. "Tyler, where are you?" yelled Father a while later. "There he is, Father," said Toby, pointing in the direction of Tyler's shape. Tyler had fallen asleep in the grass. Toby walked over with Father, following, and gently shook Tyler's shoulders. Tyler's eyes fluttered open, and he looked around, baffled. He could tell it was late in the day, and he could see that the frame of the house was finally finished. He looked up at his father and Toby and saw that they were both studying his drawing. He looked down at the ground, slightly embarrassed. "Did you draw that, Tyler?" asked Father. "Yes, Father," Tyler whispered. "This is a beautiful portrait," said Father. "Tyler, you are a wonderful artist," said Toby. Tyler grinned. "Thank you." Father said, "I know what job to give you from now on. You can draw pictures of the house each day as it's constructed. That way, we can remember what it looked like before, during, and after construction. But most importantly, Mother will have the picture of her family that she wanted." Question 1, Part A. Which sentence best states the theme of Destination Oregon Territory? A. The most important thing is family. B. Owning things helps keep memories alive. C. Moving to a new place is an exciting adventure. D. Even though it is dangerous, a new home is worth the risk. Part B. Which detail from Destination Oregon Territory best supports the answer to Part A? A. We've got to get across the Rocky Mountains before the snow starts. Paragraph 14. B. It reminds me of all of the wonderful times we had together. Paragraph 28. C. Yes, Henry, we will keep the conch shell. Paragraph 29. D. The Websters leave behind what they thought they couldn't live without and continue on their journey to their new home. Paragraph 30. Number 2. Think about how each character's viewpoint changes in Destination Oregon. Write the sentences in the chart that shows how each character has changed. Not every response will be used. I will leave behind my shells, but can we keep this one? The children are too big for me to hold and rock now. I can't leave behind the works of the greatest playwright. I will probably be too busy to read anyway. I love my spinning wheel, but I'm not sure where I'll find wool in Oregon to make yarn. Match the sentences at the top to the characters on the bottom. Jenny, Henry, Miriam, Josiah. Question 3, Part A. Why doesn't Miriam want to leave behind the rocking chair behind in Destination Oregon Territory? A. It is a comfortable chair. B. It was her grandmother's chair. C. She has fond memories of using it. D. She is planning to have more children. Part B. Which sentence from Destination Oregon Territory best supports the answer to Part A? A. I spent many nights rocking Jenny and Henry to sleep in this chair. Paragraph 6. B. Yes, we must take the chair too. Paragraph 7. C. They'll remind me of home and all the fun we had. Paragraph 10. D. The children are too big for me to hold and rock now. Paragraph 22. Question 4, Part A. Read the sentence from paragraph 13 of Destination Oregon Territory. They have stopped in a desolate spot to talk with the guide. What does the word desolate mean as it is used in the sentence? A. Empty. B. Exciting. C. Crowded. D. Boring. Part B. Which phrase best helps the reader understand the meaning of desolate in Destination Oregon Territory? A. In the Colorado Territory, paragraph 13. B. Pause with their wagon train, paragraph 13. C. Looking at the deserted landscape, paragraph 14. D. Children begin to quietly cry, paragraph 17. Question 5. Complete the chart by identifying each character's viewpoint in the portrait. It is too dangerous for Tyler to help build the house. I have exciting news about the photographer. Tyler is a fantastic artist. No one will be interested in seeing these drawings. Match the sentences to the characters below. Tyler, Toby, mother, father. Question 6, Part A. Read the sentence from paragraph 7 of the portrait. Why on earth not? Snapped mother. What does the word snapped mean as it is used in the sentence? A. Speak quietly. B. Speak slowly. C. Speak sharply. D. Speak excitedly. Part B. Which detail from the portrait best supports the answer to Part A? A. Mother slammed down the picture, put her hands on her hips. Paragraph 5. B. It's our only chance to have a photograph taken. Paragraph 5. Father explained patiently. Paragraph 8. D. That's surely more important than a photograph. Paragraph 8. Question 7. Explain how Tyler contributes to his family's efforts to raise the house. Use 2 details from the portrait to support your answer. Be sure to write in complete sentences. Question 8. Both Destination Oregon Territory and the portrait are about pioneer families in the 1800s. Compare and contrast the 2 main characters and plots of the passages. How are the families and their experiences Similar. How are they different? Use details from both passages to support your answer. Remember to write in complete sentences. Read the passage titled Horace, then answer the questions. Horace. Theo sighed as he looked longingly at the new comic books in the shop window of Martino's Comics. Theo really wanted to buy some new comic books, but he didn't have enough money. When he had asked his mom to pay him an allowance for his chores, she had said no, telling him his chores were to help out the family. How can I earn some money to buy the comic books I want so badly? He wondered. He walked, dragging his feet. When Theo reached his street, he saw his elderly neighbors, the Parkers, lounging on their porch. The couple liked relaxing outside late in the afternoon with their dog Horace and having a cup of coffee. Horace lay at their feet snoozing. "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Parker," Theo called out as he walked by. At the sound of Theo's voice, Horace's eyes shot open, and his tail began thumping against the aged wood of the porch. Today, just like every other day, Horace galloped down the sidewalk to give Theo his hello, bark, and kiss. "Down, Horace, down," Theo yelled authoritatively, as Horace jumped on him and tried to lick his face. Mr. Parker ambled over and grabbed Horace by the collar, pulling him off of Theo with maximum effort. "I'm sorry, Theo, but you know how friendly Horace is. I just don't seem to be able to keep him from bounding off of the porch to say hello to just about everybody who walks down the street." "That's okay, Mr. Parker," said Theo as he scratched behind Horace's ears. Horace's tail wagged furiously back and forth. "You know how much I like Horace. He really is a wonderful dog. I bet if he got more exercise, he wouldn't be so easily excited and jump when he saw people." "You might be right, Theo," said Mr. Parker, "but I have a hard time walking him on his leash because he's so strong and pulls a lot." Then Theo had a great idea. He had finally thought of a way to earn enough money to buy those comic books he wanted. "Have you ever considered hiring a dog walker, Mr. Parker?" Theo queried. Mr. Parker exclaimed, "That's a spectacular idea, Theo. Horace would love it, and he'd be much better behaved after getting his excess energy out. I'll talk it over with Mrs. Parker, but I'm certain she will agree. Thanks, Theo." Mr. Parker pulled Horace back to the porch, and Theo continued to walk to his house. "Yes," Theo thought to himself as he walked, "I'll finally have enough money for the new comic books, maybe even by the weekend." The next day, Theo visited Martino's Comics. "Hi, Mr. Martino," he called out as he walked to the stand of new comic books. Theo looked through the selection, chose 5 of his favorites, and laid them on the counter. "Will you reserve these for me for a few days, Mr. Martino, and hold them behind your counter so no one else can buy them?" he requested. "I just got a new job and I will be back on Saturday to pay for them after I get paid." "I can, if you are absolutely sure you can pay for them on Saturday," Mr. Martino replied. "I don't want to lose possible business and I can't afford to hold them if you won't be buying them." "I am absolutely positive," said Theo. "My new job is all set." Mr. Martino scribbled Theo's name on a piece of paper, put it on top of the stack of comic books, and then put the stack under the counter out of view. Theo left the store and decided that he would stop by the Parkers' house and offer to start walking Horace right away. The Parkers weren't on their porch, so he walked up to their door and knocked. "Well, hello, Theo," said Mr. Parker when he opened the door. "You are just in time. Come inside, please." Theo walked inside the house, but stopped suddenly when Mr. Parker said, "I want to introduce our new dog walker, Joe." Mr. Parker pointed at a teenage girl who was playing with Horace and said, "Thanks so much for giving us the idea. Our granddaughter jumped at the chance to earn some extra money and have extra time to play with Horace." Question 9, Part A. What does Theo infer about after his conversation with Mr. Parker? A. He will be the Parkers' dog walker. B. The Parkers will walk Horace themselves. C. He will help the Parkers find a dog walker. D. The Parkers will not change how often they walk Horace. Part B. Which detail from the story best supports the answer to Part A? A. You know how much I like Horace. He really is a wonderful dog. I bet if he got more exercise, he wouldn't be so easily excited and jump when he saw people. Paragraph 6. B. Yes, I'll finally have enough money for comic books, maybe even by the weekend. Paragraph 10. C. I don't want to lose possible business, and I can't afford to hold them if you won't be buying them. Paragraph 13. D. Theo walked inside the house but stopped suddenly when Mr. Parker said, "I want to introduce our new dog walker, Joe." Paragraph 18. Question 10. Which word best describes Theo? A. Careless. B. Cautious. C. Impulsive. D. Reluctant. Part B. Which detail from the story best supports the answer to Part A? A. Theo sighed as he looked longingly at the new comic books in the shop window of Mr. Martino's Comics. Paragraph 1. B. Have you ever considered hiring a dog walker, Mr. Parker? Theo queried. Paragraph 7. C. I just got a new job and will be back on Saturday to pay for them right after I get paid. Paragraph 12. D. Theo walked inside the house but stopped suddenly when Mr. Parker said, "I want to introduce our new dog walker, Joe." Paragraph 18. Question 11. Write the events in the order they occur in the story. Theo meets the Parkers' new dog walker. Theo suggests that the Parkers hire a dog walker. Theo asks Mr. Martino to save some comic books for him. Theo wants to buy comic books, but he doesn't have any money. Theo goes to the Parkers' house to walk their dog. Write the events in order on the chart. Question 12, Part A. What is the theme of the story? A. There's more to life than just money. B. Hard work always pays off in the end. C. Good ideas sometimes come when you least expect them. D. Don't assume you get the things you want until you have them. Part B. Underline one sentence in the story that best supports the answer to Part A. Underline the sentence in the text. Underline the sentence in the text and mark it number 12. Question 13, Part A. What is one way that the author develops the point of view in the story? A. Includes dialogue between the characters. B. Shows the thoughts of the main character. C. Explains how each of the characters is feeling. D. Describes specific elements of the story's setting. Part B. Which two details support the answer to Part A? You must choose two. A. How can I earn some money to buy the comic books I want so badly? He wondered. Paragraph 1. B. Today, just like every other day, Horace galloped down the sidewalk to give Theo his hello, bark, and kiss. Paragraph 3. C. I'm sorry, Theo, but you know how friendly Horace is. I just don't seem to be able to keep him from bounding off of the porch to say hello to just about everybody who walks down the street. Paragraph 5. D. Yes, Theo thought to himself as he walked. I'll finally have enough money for the new comic books, maybe even by the weekend. Paragraph 10. E. I am absolutely positive, said Theo. My new job is all set. Paragraph 14. Question 14, Part A. Read the sentence from the story. When Theo reached his street, he saw his elderly neighbors, the Parkers, lounging on the porch. What is the meaning of lounging as it is used in the sentence? A. Eating. B. Resting. C. Sleeping. D. Talking. Part B. Which phrase in paragraph 2 best supports the answer to Part A? A. Relaxing outside. B. In the afternoon. C. Cup of coffee. D. At their feet snoozing. That is the end of the mock exam. Please double check all of your answers.